In a world where internet fame is often the ultimate currency, one man has pushed the boundaries so far that he's now watching his freedom slip away. Johnny Somali isn't just another controversial streamer. He's become a global menace who turned cultural disrespect into content, harassment into entertainment, and is now facing the consequences of his actions across multiple continents. His story isn't just about internet notoriety. It's about what happens when a digital persona collides with real-world consequences. The birth of a troublemaker. Behind the inflammatory persona is 24-year-old Ramzi Khalid Ismail, an Arizona State University graduate who started his online career innocently enough. Initially creating travel content across different countries, Johnny found himself facing the content creator's worst nightmare. Nobody was watching. Instead of improving his content quality, Johnny made a decision that would set him on a destructive path. Taking inspiration from controversial streamer Ice Poseidon, known for his chaotic IRL streams, Johnny transformed his approach. What started as an armless travel vlog quickly evolved into blatant harassment, racism, and public disturbance. But for Johnny, it was called content, as one analysis put it. But how does someone go from aspiring travel vlogger to one of the internet's most universally reviled figures? The answer lies in his global tour of increasingly shocking behavior. Japan, where it all began. In 2023, Johnny landed in Japan and immediately turned it into his personal playground for chaos. While riding a train, he mocked locals by yelling references to the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings, even threatening nuclear attacks if they didn't behave. His Japanese escapades continued with blasting disturbing music at Tokyo Disneyland, harassing construction workers, and referring to Japanese people as NPCs, gaming terminology implying they weren't real humans with feelings. The inevitable happened. Japanese authorities arrested Johnny after he trespassed into a construction site while shouting Fukushima at workers simply trying to do their jobs. Despite this brush with the law, Johnny was released after paying a fine of $1,400, a slap on the wrist that failed to deter his behavior. Israel, escalating the offense. With Japan behind him, Johnny set his sights on Israel in early 2024. There, he managed to offend both Arab and Jewish communities in record time. One of his most outrageous stunts involved flashing images of controversial figures onto the Western Wall while making bizarre statements about them being top Jews. He even claimed to identify as a sexual harasser during one stream. South Korea, where actions have consequences. By late 2024, with controversy following him like a shadow, Johnny turned to South Korea. Unlike Japan's culture of quiet disapproval, South Korean society has less tolerance for disrespect, something Johnny would learn the hard way. One of his first live streams in South Korea crossed a particularly painful cultural line. Johnny encountered the Statue of Peace, a memorial dedicated to Korean comfort women who were forced into sexual slavery by Japanese soldiers during World War II. Rather than respecting this solemn monument, Johnny kissed the statue and danced inappropriately in front of it. On October 9th, he uploaded a video showing himself kissing the Statue of Peace in Itaewon, Central Seoul, while also performing an inappropriate dance in front of the monument, reported one news source. As if that wasn't offensive enough, Johnny later shared an image on Instagram holding a photo of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe with the caption, "I defeated Koreans for you, Shinzo Abe." In a convenience store, Johnny created chaos by playing loud music, drinking alcohol, and pouring instant noodles on a table. This behavior would later form one of the charges against him. Legal consequences mount. With nowhere to hide and his reputation in tatters, Johnny made a desperate attempt to salvage his image by posting an apology video beside the same statue he had disrespected. But by then, it was too late. South Korean authorities placed him under a travel ban, effectively trapping him in the country. Seo Kyung-duk, professor of general education at Sungshin Women's University in Seoul, who is known for promoting Korean culture and history of his own accord, claimed that the U.S. streamer, while attending the hearing, displayed inappropriate behavior, including responding to the judge's questions while having his hands in his pockets, reported one source. Despite his cavalier attitude, reality hit hard when Johnny pleaded guilty to all 3 charges against him, including obstruction of business and violations of the Minor Offenses Act. From bad to worse. You might think a guilty plea would subdue Johnny, but you'd be wrong again. In late March 2025, despite already pleading guilty and awaiting sentencing, he allegedly harassed another female streamer to the point where she had to file a police report. Johnny harassed the pair to the point that Nana was forced to lodge a complaint with Korean police with the help of a friend, according to reports. When confronted about his behavior, Johnny doubled down, claiming the streamer was just seeking attention. "This bitch want clout," he claimed in his defense. Most recently, Johnny was arrested again after a drunken, shirtless live stream where he dared Koreans to call the police on him. When officers arrived, instead of cooperating, he created a scene, all broadcast live to his remaining audience. With each new incident, Johnny seems to be digging himself deeper, collecting charges like they're Pokemon, as one commentator observed. The inevitable end. As of April 2025, Johnny remains in South Korea, unable to leave due to the ongoing legal proceedings. Immigration lawyer Kim Joo-hyung explained the likely outcome. Foreigners are ordered to leave the country, either voluntarily or forcibly, if their criminal actions result in a fine of more than 3 million won US 2064. Considering the multiple charges against Ismail and the serious nature of his offenses, it is very unlikely that he will receive a lighter penalty than this. But deportation may be the least of Johnny's worries. Legal experts suggest he could face up to 5 years in prison for his actions in South Korea alone. Some reports even mention potential charges under anti-terrorism laws after he claimed to have a bomb on a public train. Why does he do it? What drives someone to such extreme behavior? Johnny's content strategy appears to revolve around the concept that any attention, even overwhelmingly negative attention, is valuable in the digital landscape. Each arrest, each confrontation, each outraged response only fed into his notoriety and, by extension, his viewership. But there's a profound irony in Johnny's approach. The very controversy that built his platform has now trapped him in a legal nightmare with real-world consequences that no amount of streaming revenue can offset. Banned from major platforms like Kick and Twitch, Johnny has been relegated to smaller platforms like Rumble and TikTok, with his audience dwindling as his legal troubles mount. Johnny Somali's story stands as a stark warning about the pursuit of fame at any cost. What began as an attempt to gain viewers through increasingly outrageous behavior has culminated in legal troubles across multiple countries, with the most serious consequences still pending in South Korea. As Professor Seo Kyung-duk stated, a strong punishment must be imposed to prevent such incidents from happening again in the country. It seems the days of Johnny Somali's controversial streaming career are numbered, with deportation or imprisonment on the horizon. The final chapter of Johnny Somali's downward spiral is still being written, but one thing is certain. When you build a career on disrespect, eventually the world stops laughing and starts enforcing consequences. For Johnny Somali, that reckoning has finally arrived. Drop down your views in the comments and subscribe for more.